In this next problem, we'll have to do somewhat similar work what we did before. It says find the sum of the first 5 terms. So again, I start out with writing my formula. Sn equals a1 times 1 minus r to the n over 1 minus r. And let's find our common ratio. So our common ratio is 20 divided by negative 60, which is negative 1/3. So this negative 1/3 is my common ratio. I also know that A1 is negative 60 and N is going to be 5. So I'm going to find the sum of the first 5 terms. S5 will equal to negative 60 times 1 minus negative 1/3 to the 5th divided by 1 minus negative 1/3. So then I have negative 60 and 1 minus negative 1/3 to the 5th divided by 4/3. So now continuing the simplifying, negative 60 times 1 minus negative 1 over 243 over 4/3. And continue simplifying, I find the common denominator for the numerator of the complex fraction. So it's negative 60 times 243 over 243. And since I have two negatives, I have to add 1 over 243 and divide this by 4/3. So negative 60 times 244 over 243 multiplied by the reciprocal of 4/3, which is 3/4. So if I simplify, I'm going to simplify by 3 and get 1 and 81. And then I'm going to simplify by 4 and get 1 and 61. So my final answer is negative 60 times 61 over 81. And I can still simplify. I can simplify by 3. So let's go ahead and say this is 27 and this will be 20. So our final answer will be negative 122 is actually 1220 divided by 27. So this is the sum of the first 5 terms. So in this part of the problem, we need to find n if the sum of the previous sequence was negative 32,800 divided by 729. So the first thing I'm going to start out with is A1 was negative 60 and R was negative 1/3. So we are going to say negative 32,800 divided by 729 will equal to negative 60 times 1 minus negative 1/3 to the n over 1 minus negative 1/3. So the first thing we are going to do is divide both sides by 60. And if I divide both sides by 60, that means multiply by the reciprocal, and I'm going to actually divide by negative 60. So I will have negative 1 over 60 times negative 32,800 divided by 729. And that will equal to 1 minus negative 1/3 to the n divided by 4/3. So now I'm going to simplify the left-hand side by 5. And if I simplify by 5, I get negative 1/12 and times negative 6,560 divided by 729, and that will equal to 1 minus negative 1/3 to the n divided by 4/3. And if I look at the left hand side, I know I still can simplify by 4, so I'm going to get negative 1/3, and if I divide 6,560 by 4, I get 1,640, negative 1,640 over 729, and that will equal to 1 minus negative 1/3 to the n over 4/3. So now I'm going to multiply both sides by 4/3, and I'm also going to eliminate the negative symbol on the left hand side. So I will have 4/9 times 1,640 over 729, and that will give me 1 minus negative 1/3 to the nth power. Now if I multiply 4 and 1,640, I'm going to go up here. So I end up having 6,560 divided by 9 times 729, which is 6,561, and that will equal to 1 minus negative 1/3 to the n. So again, I subtract 1, and I need to find a common denominator. So that will mean 6,560 over 6,561 minus 6,561 over 6,561 will equal to negative 1/3 to the nth power. So now I need to simplify and get negative 1 over 6,561 will equal to negative 1/3 to the n. So now I'm going to divide both sides by negative 1 and end up having 1 over 6,561 equals negative 1/3 to the n. So now I need to see what power I need to raise 3 to get 6,561. And so if I raise negative 1/3 to the 8th power, negative 1/3 to the 8th power, I end up having an answer of 1 over 6561. Therefore, n is equal 8. So if I add up 8 terms in the same sequence, I'm going to end up having a sum of negative 32,800 over 729.